So for me, realizing what was causing me to avoid any heaviness, avoid density, was huge because it unraveled how much shame I was carrying about heaviness, how I was trying to keep up a role of like a cheerleader and of a person who's light all the time, which is impossible because we're all energy and energy is constantly changing. It's never always the same. And it also made me realize that culturally I had taken this idea about being a woman meant that I always had to like have my shit together. I always had to, be this really like smiley, like almost robotic person who only felt lightness and love and didn't carry heaviness around them. I mean, that's the internalized portrait of a woman that I had within me growing up in Japan and being half Japanese. But then realizing that that's bullshit and accepting that everybody feels dense and heavy sometimes and it's a temporary thing, and just like you may not always be happy, and that's okay. It just is. There's a lot of forgiveness that had to happen within and letting go. But even the process of forgiving heaviness and density and the fact that I do experience those things is a very loving process and a process that can bring lightness into your life. And ultimately, it did release me from feeling like there was something wrong with me or that I was a bad person for experiencing heaviness. So in the grand scheme of things, getting to understand where the shame around heaviness was coming from and unraveling what was involved in creating that shame has been such a loving, like self-loving process, and helps me in my day-to-day whenever I experience heaviness to remind myself that this is okay and it's temporary, and it doesn't take away from the light and fluid being that I am as well. These things can coexist.